Flags right there. Can you say that? Say, I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance
to the flag
to the flag
of the United States of America
United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Great job, Jace. Way to go, buddy. Our Sergeant of Arms today is Charlie Wallace.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. As a reminder, the Sergeant at Arms duty is to fleece our members of a little cash. Visitors, you are exempt from this moment. All members are expected to get out at least $2 unless we exempt you from something. So, I'm a big fan. Sergeant at Arms, of course, is supposed to establish decorum and maintain order. So I would like to say, anybody who was not here last week, please get an extra $2. If you're not wearing your name tag, please get out $2. And really, that's about it. We're going to move on today. I thank you for being here. As a reminder, this is for our scholarship fund. So thanks for your time.
Our Rotarian today is Trish Newell. Trish, welcome forward, please.
Hi, my name is Trish Norton, and I just wanted to give you an update on the Will Norton Miracle Field that we built in Joplin 14 years ago through donations from Rotary and a couple other people, and it has been a huge success. We knew that we could get it built, but we didn't know if it would be successful and maintain itself through the years. But this is our record year. We had over 100 youth handicapped children that played and over 100 adults that also played. So we had over 200 people there. It was great. They had a banner day, they had hot dogs, ice cream, and everything through donations of different places. And so, anyway, thank you, Rotary, for all you do, because you made it possible.
Our guest today is Joe Durden. Joe? And now for special announcements, if you will come forward, please. While they're making their way to the stage, we start next Wednesday decorating for Lobster Fest. So the group transport needs to meet at 9 o'clock at the Cherokee Storage so that we can start loading stuff to bring to Wolf Creek Expo so we can get that party started for Saturday, May 30th.
I am here to present a Paul Harris +3 to Terry Wepler. Terry Wepler, please come up. This is to honor Terry for generously donating to the Rotary International Foundation. Terry, congratulations. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll get
Thank you.
Also, I'm recruiting for the program committee. If anyone is interested in joining the program committee to help schedule speakers every week, if you would please see me. We don't meet hardly ever. Most of it is done by email and texting. You can do it during the day. You can do it in your private time in the morning when you're drinking your coffee and maybe in another room in the house. You can do it whenever you want. So if you would contact me again, it doesn't take a whole lot of time commitment. I would say maybe an hour a month. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. I'm just going to follow that great news of Terry with some sad news from the heart. I'm sorry. Jim Connor fell this last week, hit his head evidently pretty hard.
He had a very large bleed in his head, which took him right to surgery immediately, which they were able to drain, but he was on a ventilator. And he's off of the ventilator now. His wife called me this morning and said she just wants Rotary to send all of your prayers to St. John's in Tulsa. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I have my favorite stuff on. Couple of announcements. First of all, Rotarians, I know you like to eat. I know that for a fact. I've seen you all in action every Wednesday, and I have a couple of opportunities where you can eat for a good cause. So on your table, first of all, is a flyer for Arby's. It's a fundraiser for Lindenwood Gardens Fairy Festival next Tuesday. So, I know that's about a week away. It's only that day. Please take a picture or take the flyer. And when you go to Arby's, you should go in the drive-thru or go inside. You need to show the flyer or the picture or say it. Okay? So it's pretty easy. Just please remind yourself, put it on your calendar, next Tuesday at Arby's. They will give 10% of proceeds towards the Fairy Festival. So please do that. Also, and I mean above and beyond, Monty and Tori are here today. Yay! On your table is a card. With this card, you get $5 off and you order over 20 at Mazio's. So you get a benefit, and then another 15% will be donated to Lindenwood Gardens towards the Fairy Festival. Another great, great opportunity to support while eating. And this is valid until July 7th. Monty, thank you. Thank you so much. He had these printed. They're beautiful. They have the colors and the Fairy Festival design on it. So he did all of this, and he's giving you $5, and he's giving money towards the Fairy Festival. So thank you. When I did my talk last week, I really excited one of the members, Tony, potential new member, is a pirate. He's a pirate on our buses, so thank you for volunteering. Woo! We need one more. We need one more. I had somebody who has a conflict. So if anybody wants to be a pirate, please let me know. It'll be a lot of fun. Thank you.
Well, I'm excited to announce that Taste of Grand is coming back to Grove. For those of you, it'll be the 4th Saturday in September this year. That's September 26th. As a reminder, this is a fundraiser for the Hospital Foundation, Integris Health Hospital Foundation. For those of you who have been, it's one of the biggest events in Grove. Last time we did that a couple years ago, we had over 1,000 people there. It is a night filled with lots of restaurants from around the area put together tastes of food. You go around to various booths and pick up a taste. There are also wine vendors and liquor vendors and others, all of which you don't have to pay for. One ticket gets you in. It's a lot of fun. There's a live band. It's a great evening. There's no auctions. This is just really a get-together that has some fun. Buy a ticket to support the cause. So please put that on your calendar, September 26th.
Where's it going to be?
It will be, every year it will be scheduled to be outdoors at the hospital grounds, but now that we have a Civic Center backup program, if there is inclement weather, we will post that everywhere and go inside, and we have that reserved for that case. Thank you.
Hey, Charlie. Well, first of all, it's one of my favorite events of the year in this region, and I'm really glad to see it come back. How do you get tickets, and when do you get tickets?
Tickets are not out yet. How about we'll announce that when we get a little closer to time. The committee that's organized has started working on that, but that will more to come on that. Thank you.
And now, Kristen, if you will come forward and present the program. Well, luckily Grant has a gifted gap because you're going to have about 45 minutes to entertain us today, so I'm looking forward to it. Well, I'm pleased to introduce you today to Grant Kernan. Grant grew up in Weatherford, Texas, where those Friday night lights took him all the way to an Ivy League education. You can tell I wrote this bio and not Grant. It was a little boring when he sent it to me.
Grant had a successful football career at Dartmouth College in New Hampshire, where he also earned a degree in sociology. Grant then started an illustrious career at a restaurant in Fort Worth, Texas, as a manager, where his most impressive accomplishment was meeting and marrying his beautiful wife, Amber. Grant was well into a career in product development with Capelon Cookware in Toledo, Ohio, when a special guy we love, Cy Elmberg, convinced him into moving to Oklahoma. Grant began working for F3 Brands, a division of Blitz USA, in 2005 and held senior marketing and management roles. And I hope Grant will share his story about how he came to Oklahoma from Cy. It's a great story. For the past 15 years, Grant has been the CEO and now co-owner of Newell Coach. Newell is revered literally worldwide as one of the premier manufacturers of custom engineered luxury motor coaches with decades of success and expertise. Their coaches fetch upwards of, I said 2.5, but is it 3 million? Yeah, close to $3 million. So please welcome my friend and our speaker today, Grant Kernan.
Christy obviously went to the Chat GPT Grant bio. Yeah. Thank you guys for having me come today. I've lived here since 2005, so a little over 20 years, and really respect what Rotary does in this community for the schools and the town in general. So I appreciate what you guys do, and I appreciate you having me here. So for those that don't know much about Newell, we are a manufacturer, a designer, a seller, and a servicer of luxury custom motorhomes based in Miami, Oklahoma. We build pretty uniquely. I'll get into that in a bit, but each one of them is designed for the specific end user. Our coaches travel all over North America. We've got a handful that are international, but they're all designed and built right here in Northeast Oklahoma. So we're really proud of that. A few things I'd like to share today. First, just kind of the history of Newell. It's got a pretty unique history and history of innovation. I'll give you a quick snapshot of the RV market as a whole. It's an all-encompassing market from the suppliers to the customers to the dealers, much bigger than a lot of people understand. I'll give you a quick snapshot of specifically Newell, how we manufacture them, how we sell them, the people we have at Newell, and then talk about some of the challenges and the opportunities that we have in our business. So, to begin with, I'll have some key stats. So, Newell was founded in 1967, so next year will be our 60th year in operation. We're really proud of that. Been in the same location ever since, right on Route 66. It was started by a man named L.K. Newell. This is where the pop quiz portion of the show starts. So, L.K. started a business. He was a well-known entrepreneur in Miami. How many of you? Let me ask this: how many of you heard of L.K. Newell? Okay, there's a few people around. So, L.K. started a business, and this is where it kind of comes full circle for me. He started a business called U.S. Metal Container Company. Has anybody heard of that business? Okay. So U.S. Metal Container Company became Blitz USA. Blitz USA was owned by our near and dear family, the Elmberg family, Simon. So after LK was successful in creating those businesses, he was a motorhomer. And in the mid-60s, the Streamline motorhome was kind of the best motorhome of the day. And so he is in California talking to the owner, and the stories of LK are he was a pretty tough cop back in the day, and he is in California talking to the owner of Streamline Motorhomes and telling him all the things that were wrong with his Streamline Motorhome. The urban legend is the guy listened to this for a little bit and says, well, LK, if you're so damn smart, why don't you just buy this business? And by the end of that day, LK had purchased the business, they came to terms, and he drove the inventory from Southern California to his factory there in Commerce. We're just south of the ball fields in Commerce. I've been in that location since 1967. So it's got a really good history of innovation.
some of the things that you know, a lot of motorhomes might take for, or RV enthusiasts might take for granted. Like, for example, the first rear-engine diesel pusher was created by OK right there in Miami, Oklahoma. Now today, all of the Class A motorhomes that are out there are diesel pushers. So that started here. We were the first chassis to the current standard of 102 inches wide. We are the only manufacturer that has a rear steer axle, which means a tag axle, which means when you turn your wheels to the left, the back wheels turn to the right, so you have a real tight turning radius. So a whole lot of innovation happened here. We try to continue that going forward. We got 208 employees. That's gone up from, call it 165 or so about 10 years ago. A little over 245,000 square feet under roof between manufacturing, service, and sales. We build 28 new coaches a year. So our business is a very strange business. It caters to high net worth individuals who just really love motoring. And it's a very small segment of the industry. And all of them are custom. When we say custom, I don't mean it like a marketing spiel. I mean, we start from the ground up. We're the only manufacturer left that's still building our own proprietary chassis. So we start with square tube steel, and I'll talk about the design process in a minute, but everybody else uses a truck chassis, like a Freightliner or a Spartan, or they use a Prevost bus shell. And a bus shell is basically like a Greyhound bus. They'll take it and then they convert it into a motorhome. So that's our primary competition is the Prevost motorhomes. But the fact that we only produce 28 a year allows us to do some customization that frankly other people aren't able to do. And that's really our niche in the marketplace. When people have been motorhoming a long time, they really know what they want out of their motorhome. We always say there's really only one place to come because we can design it the way you want it versus having you change your lifestyle to adapt to the motorhome. We'll change the motorhome to adapt to the way you want to live it. So, in addition to the 28 new coaches a year, we do 30 to 35 pre-owned coaches a year. Just like a regular dealership, we take coaches in on trade, we take coaches in on consignment, and then we have a service center. We do not have any dealers, so whereas a lot of the other manufacturers, they'll produce them in Indiana, and they have dealers all over the country. We don't have any dealers. We deal directly with the end user. That's an important part of our business because cultivating a relationship with our customers is a big part of our success. It allows us to take care of them the way they need to be taken care of. But it's unique. There is no dealership, so we just work directly with them. We also don't have any other service centers. The only service center we have here is Miami, Oklahoma. That's company owned. Over the 60 years in business, we are lucky to have formed relationships with really good service centers all over the country. As you can imagine, Miami, Oklahoma might not be the easiest place to get to, if you live on the East Coast or if you live on the far West Coast. So we've got great relationships with service centers all over the country that we've formed. It's been family owned and operated since the beginning. Amber and I purchased majority share at the end of 2023. Before that, the Blade family, Carl and Alice Blade. Some of you guys might know Carl and Alice. They had a lake home here for a long time. They owned it for 40 plus years. So Amber and I are partners with Pat and Becky, who are kind of their kids. And that's been another important part of our business. There's been a ton of consolidation. This kind of gets into the industry overview. There's been a ton of consolidation in the motorhome industry over the last few years, where large public companies have purchased, what were formerly private brands, and the number of players in the industry just continues to shrink. Our belief is that with the customers that we have, that would not be a good fit. We need to be able to make the call locally on what we need to do to take care of the customer. We don't need to have to call a corporate office somewhere. That's a real advantage for us, and our customers appreciate that. Industry overview. So there's roughly 11 million people in the U.S. households that have RVs. And the RV industry as a whole, when you count Class A, Class B, and Class Cs, and those are the different kind of categories of motorhomes, they ship anywhere from 300,000 to 500,000 units a year. So when you add that to the number of suppliers that feed those, you can understand that it's a pretty big manufacturing base. 95% of the motorhomes that are produced, or excuse me, that are used in the United States and North America are all produced in the United States. So from a manufacturing perspective, unlike maybe automobiles that are made overseas, the vast majority of motorhomes are built right here in the United States. So it's a big manufacturing sector that's a big part of our business, and it's an important part of what makes it successful. Let's talk about COVID for a minute. COVID. So anybody who was in, particularly around here, the boat industry, real estate industry, side-by-sides, anything kind of outdoorsy, vacation-y, we all know it kind of blew up during COVID, right? It was unbelievable. And we were no different. It created its own challenges with labor, with parts. I always tell people, one of the things I kick myself is during that time period I should have been journaling, because every day I would come in and there was a whole new business challenge and a whole new adventure to try to solve. But it was an extremely busy time for the motor coach industry. It is pulling back from 2022 to 2023, which was the peak years for all that activity. It's pulled back nearly 30% for the majority of the Class A industry. Our business has actually stayed stable. So we're really lucky in that. I was talking to Pat, our sales, who runs our sales side just the other day, and even on the converters, we're seeing weakness in that market as well. So we're just continuing to dot our I's and cross our T's, but our business has been stable at that 28 a year. There's been a lot of consolidation. I talked about large brands. This is an interesting kind of factoid for you. Elkhart, Indiana is the home of the majority, probably 85% or more of the manufacturers for motorhomes is in Elkhart, Indiana. And economists have always used that as kind of a canary in the coal mine. They look at the employment rates in Elkhart, Indiana to determine, as a leading indicator of what's going on with the economy. Because motorhomes are high purchase price and they're incredibly discretionary. Nobody needs a $2.8 million motorhome, as much as I try to convince them. So it's an interesting statistic that they, during the recession, Elkhart had the highest unemployment rate, 25% or something like that. During COVID, it had, it was a negative number. Everybody was fully employed in Elkhart, Indiana. So little factoid there. Our specific market. So I told you, high net worth individuals. Talk to you a little bit about Newell versus the Class A versus Prevost. Our specific market. So as I said, a lot of the market is pulled back. Our backlog right now is like 17 months. So what that means for us is if someone were to come, if Christy convinces Charlie to place an order for a new coach today, he would not deliver that. We would not be able to deliver that coach for 17 months. So we got a great backlog that provides a lot of stability for our business. Unlike a lot of the Class A industry in Elkhart, they operate on these big boom and bust cycles, right? So when COVID happens, they hire all these people, they way overproduce, push all this inventory out to the dealers, and then when it dries up, they let everybody go, and when there's inventory stuck on dealership lots for a couple years. That just sounds, when I think about having to manage that and the impact that has on families that work for you, it's horrible. So the 2080 year we have is, frankly, I'm not looking, even though I got a 17-month backlog, I'm really not looking to expand that. That's not who we are. It's tough to build the type of customization, the type of quality that we need to be able to provide by going after volume. So it's a very different segment of that industry that we focus on. The customer makeup, so it's changing. I would say 10 years ago, if I were to say that there's really no average Newell customer, because they all are unique and they all got stories, but if I were try to, it was retired, been motorhoming for 20 plus years, and maybe recently sold their business or recently retired, and this has been an aspirational purchase that maybe one day if things work out for me, I'll be able to get a Newell. We've got that type of kind of aspirational brand. But our average age over the last 12 months is probably 55, still working, owning their business. And so that's continuing to trend down. They have not been motorhoming for 20 years. Maybe they've been motorhoming for a couple. And they're just in a place in their lives and have had the type of financial success where they can order Newell. So that demographic, we're really excited about. It bodes for a long-term customer base. If we do our jobs to take care of them, then we can get multiple sales out of a younger generation. So that's all good things. Certainly the technology that's come around with Starlink and the connectivity that comes with a lot of that technology really helps people who are still working to stay engaged with their business. That's another thing that's driven our age demographic down, because they can stay connected. There's Zoom, there's Teams, there's all sorts of connectivity that allows us to do that. Over 50% of my production schedule are repeat customers, so that's really our bread and butter. We take care of the customers that are here. I always talk to our sales team about our best prospects are the people that are driving around in Newells right now. So we do a good job of taking care of our customers and our service. From a strategy standpoint, the way we go after these customers is really resort shows. So we do go to one big RV show a year in Tampa, and we get 10,000 people through the coach over the course of 3 days. And every year I say, well, we won the award for most likely to purchase once they win the lottery, because I hear that 5,000 times. Ooh, I won the lottery. Give me a call. But other than that, we go to resort shows. So there is, I didn't understand this till I got into the industry, but there are these high-end resorts around the country that cater to high-end Class A's, Newells, Prevost conversions, and there'll be 300 or 400, $1 million RVs in a small area, just all parked up, lined up next to each other. So we go and we spend time. Our sales team spends time in the desert in Palm Springs, which is kind of a mecca for all the snowbirds, from January through March. And then we have a salesman down in the Florida market. It's a little more spread out than Palm Springs. We'll have just Newell alone in Palm Springs, within about 2 square miles, there's probably 85 to 100 Newells all parked right there. So target-rich environment, as they say. So we spend time there. We also have some summer resorts that we go to. The other thing that we've been doing for a while, and we're continuing to figure out how we can take advantage of that, is social media marketing. Is a big way to get the message out, to show our product. Our product is a very visual product, right? So video, pictures, stories, those are the things that we're trying to do a better job of communicating to to the market, and help them get to understand the Newell advantages versus our competition. Something I'm really passionate about, and I'll spend a little bit of time, is our employee base. I mentioned we have 208 employees. One of the coolest parts about Newell is the diverse craftsmanship that we have to have because of the way we build it. So we have welders, and we have body shop guys, we have upholsterers, electricians, cabinet builders, tile layers, painters, any craft that you can think of that you'll need as part of building a luxury home, we have to have that. And we've got an incredibly talented group there. It's always shocking to me that we have, in this small little town, that we have the type of talent and craftsmanship to do what we do. And frankly, our customers are always surprised by it too. We'll have customers fly into the airport there in Miami and drive over, and they'll say, "This is where you build these things?" So, we've just got really talented people. Our company is really known for kind of having a multi-generational employee base. It is not uncommon at all to have fathers and sons and brothers and uncles, that kind of thing working for us. Certainly during COVID, when we were trying to increase production, during COVID we had like a 28-month backlog at one point. It was nuts. So we were trying to increase production by like 2 coaches a year or 4 coaches a year, and we had a lot of trouble finding that talent. But other than that, we're lucky. Our turnover is probably less than 3% per year. Once people start at Newell, they rarely leave until they retire. That's a ton of history and knowledge that we retain within the business, and that we have a good culture to kind of keep those people there. Our service department, which we have probably 50 people in our service department, 90% of those came directly from our production team. So you'll spend 10 years on the production line as an electrician, let's say. And then a position will open up on the service department. And we're a union shop. I'll talk about that in a minute as well. And so they'll bid over and do the position in the service department. And it's not uncommon for people we'll have customers call in and say, I want to coach 1540 and I need to talk to an electrician. And the electrician will get on and say, yeah, I built that coach 10 years ago. So it's really useful and makes the troubleshooting real good, really effective for our customers. So that's a unique part of Newell. We don't have, I would say, a very sophisticated training system. There's a lot of just kind of job shadowing when someone gets in. The way we build cabinets is unlike any cabinet shop. We'll have people who are, have been building cabinets in a cabinet shop around here for 15 years, and they start at Newell, and they say, I'm at ground zero. I have to start over for how I build these things. We're glad that we have a culture there where people are teaching each other and kind of helping out each other. The union shop, we've been a union shop since the early 70s. I think that might, I mentioned LK was a pretty tough cob. I think that might come because LK was a pretty tough cob. And we've been that way since then. When I first started at Newell, almost 15 years ago now, I never worked for a union shop, and I thought, man, is this like Jimmy Hoffa? Are they going to slash my tires? What am I in for here? And it's not like that at all. We have a really good relationship with our local marketing team. I think they understand that, because everybody around here, or everybody who works at Newell, they're all just local farm boys that really, learn from their dads and their granddads and are just really talented. I have cabinet builders that are excellent mechanics, and I have electricians that are excellent body shop guys. I mean, they're like that. They're those type of people. They can kind of do anything. And I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, the union shop, yeah. So every 3 years, we have a union negotiations. We're having another one coming up this fall. And those are not like what you hear. There's nobody cussing and spitting across the table. And according to the union representation that kind of comes from out of state, we have a really unique environment. And I think the basis of that is they understand that there's nowhere else they could go around here with that type of wage. We pay close to $40 an hour for trades. Leads get a little bit more than that. Have a strong profit sharing program, very good benefit program, and we kind of need each other, right? There's nowhere else they could go and stay local and get that type of pay. And frankly, we need to be able to pay that because we got to have the very best talent in order to build the type of product we do. So we got a great relationship with them. Apprenticeship program, I'll just mention this. During COVID, one of the challenges we had in building was we couldn't find enough painters of all things. If you've seen our coaches, you can go to newellcoach.com and just see some of the photos. The paint jobs on these things are just amazing. It's not like painting a car that's small and usually one color. These things are 45 feet long and 13 and a half feet tall, and are really works of art. And it takes a lot of talent to find those, and they're just not teaching painting and body shop anymore like they used to. So we built an apprentice program kind of in-house from the ground up, where we basically decided that, someone put the website up there, where people can learn. We have janitors and cleaners that we bring in as apprentices. It's a 2-year program, and at the end of 2 years, they have to pass their test, but once a position opens up, we've got a qualified painter that knows how Newell does it in-house. So it was really effective for us, helped us out when we couldn't find any painters at all. Just in the last year, it's been so effective that we've added it for cabinet building positions, electrical positions, and our body shop positions. Because there's just not, it's a challenge with manufacturing today. I don't know how many you're in manufacturing, but finding good craftsmanship is one of the things that is really tough on manufacturers. So, we implemented that. It's been great. Our manufacturing process, I'm looking at the clock here, so I'm going to go pretty quick on this last part, open up for some questions. But again, we built from the ground up. It takes about 5.5 months to build one, from when it starts in the weld shop, where it pops out the other end looking like a fully finished coach that you see right there. We're the only manufacturer that builds our chassis, allows us a tremendous amount of customization in terms of just everything. We have mid-entry coaches where the door is in the middle of the coach. We have front-entry coaches. We can build them at any length from 39 feet up to 45 feet. 0 slides to 4 slides. So again, it's really like sitting down with an architect and designer. Our design process, which my wife Amber does all of the interior designs for Newell Coach. She'll sit down with the owner. They fly in. They're usually here for 2 or 3 days. They sit down with the project lead, who's an engineer. They start out with a blank sheet of paper. The analogy the best analogy is if you're building a luxury home, if you've ever gone through that process, where you pick out everything. I mean, the stitching on the pillows, the type of custom rugs, the grout color, everything you can think of that you'd have to pick, you do that over the course of 3 days. Some of the new trends, home automation, technology is invading our homes, and RVs are no different. So we have coaches that we can say, Alexa, lower the shades, and all the shades go down. And sometimes I think, keep it simple, stupid, but we tend to make it complicated. Accent lighting, specialty lighting, you'll see a lot of that in our newer coaches, just like you will in the new homes. But yeah, that customization, that's our big differentiator. A couple of the challenges. So this is this is a challenging time for manufacturers. For us, it's not the labor issue. Other manufacturers it is, just because our turnover is so low. But inflation in materials, certainly tariff uncertainty over the last 12 months has been very difficult to manage. The challenge, that 17-month backlog that I spoke about, that's kind of a blessing and a curse. So I'm writing a contract today with a customer that is going to take delivery in 17 months. It takes 5.5 months to build, which means I'm not going to start building that coach for a year. I have no idea what it's going to cost me to build that coach in a year, right? So that's one of the challenges is with the inflation and tariffs, I really don't know. We're not in a position to go back to Mr. Customer and say, man, can I get a little more money? Because it costs a lot more. We're not in a position to do that. So we try to project pricing. We do our best, but that's a big challenge for us right now. The other thing is low volume. At 28 coaches a year, it was funny when I worked with Blitz, Blitz had 85% of the market in gas cans. I don't know if you guys knew that. Red plastic gas can that everybody's got like 4 of in their garage, 85% of them came from side. And you had all kinds of leverage. When I would call and I was trying to buy corrugate or resin, it's, oh, you're Blitz USA. Well, what can we do to get your business? When I call and I say, listen, I need an air conditioner for my Newell. How many do you need? Well, I need 28. 28 a shift? No, 28 a year. Click. So our brand helps because people like being associated with our brand. But it's a real challenge at 28. Regulatory burdens on, because we're building a vehicle from scratch. It's got to comply with NHTSA regulations, the EPA regulations, and those regulations on small manufacturers are burdensome and expensive. I can't accrue it over 100,000 units a year. So those are all challenges that we do. Lack of leverage, vendor retention. We'll have, I got a vendor that I buy windows from, and again, our customers and therefore us expect a very high level of quality. And if the windows are not, if there's a smudge in them or on the inside of the pane, we'll call them and say we can't have this. And, they don't seem too responsive. So it's a constant battle. Our purchasing quality teams, special gold stars for them. Future plans, I get asked sometimes, you're doing well, what's your growth plans? And I always tell people, the nice part about being privately owned and not having a big, corporate board that I got to report to or disclose quarterly earnings or things like that, is I can grow, I grow like the turtle runs, just slow and steady. If I can grow slow and steady for the next 20 years, keep everybody employed and not have layoffs and mass hiring and mass firing, that's kind of my goal. So we'll keep looking for innovation. Technology is certainly a piece of it. Design trends are a piece of it. We'll continue our service outreach. Over the past couple of years, we've been pushing to where we have Newell technicians. We've got a couple, 3 or 4 service vans. We'll send them down to Florida. We'll send them to California when our customers are down there to increase our service outreach. That's an opportunity for us, certainly. Every year we're adding 28 new coaches to the world. So that's 28 new coaches that need level of attention from the service department. So there's growth opportunities there, but our business is just not one that we're going to chase volume or really try to grow. I have no desire to try to grow rapidly. That's a management challenge that I just don't want. So a couple markets that we're looking at. There's an equestrian market that we've got a couple customers in, but I don't know if any of you guys are into the reining, but if you do, there's a lot of money in reining and NHRA and those industries. So we're looking to see how we can make better use of our show coaches to get some of that market. and international. Over the past few years, we actually sent a couple to, Abu Dhabi not Israel, and Saudi Arabia. So we sent a couple coaches over there. There's obviously a lot of money in the Middle East. I'm not going over there anytime soon to start selling, but there's a good market out there that are interested in American products. So by now, you guys should be experts on Newell and the Newell RV experience. I'll open it up for questions if you guys have any. Sure.
What power plant are you using in your units, and is there anything different going on there with?
Yes, you've seen some of our sites, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so thank you for that softball question. So yes, we have the largest engine in the industry, the 605 Cummins horsepower. It's got 1,950 pounds torque, and it's the largest one. We're not the only ones who use that. There's a lot of big Class A's that use that. We have formed a relationship with a company called PDI, and essentially they're a diesel tuner. And so Mark Martin, who's one of our well-known customers, he's all over the place with social media. You might have seen him. He just was in Utah at PDI, and he's got a fully painted, chromed out engine. You know, if you've seen that scene from Grease, where they open up the engine, and that's what the back of this motorhome looks like right now. And I think he's got like 780 horses to the rear wheel, so they put it on a dyno. So that's a special option that Newell offers our customers, and it's for the gearheads. You know, it's pretty cool.
Not so much softball question this time. And I'm a motorhomer. I'm on number 9.
Oh, okay, very good.
So, the 605 Cummins and the Allison go a million miles.
Yes.
The stuff that rolls up the windows and the shades and all that kind of stuff is obsolete after 2 years. And so what happens is that you have this machine that will go forever, and the things that control the inside of it, there's a whole new company in Allen Bradley or whatever does not exist anymore 2 or 3 years later. How can you solve that problem, number one? And number two, there are more little stick-built things being built every year than there are spots to put the big coaches.
That's right.
How can you fix that? Because you have to have a place to park them if you're going to go play with them.
Yeah, so great question. So let me address the supply base first. So he's exactly right. And it's one of the challenges. I mentioned the windows. So we have a very high expectation of quality that we have to be able to provide for our customers. The reality is a lot of the suppliers to the RV industry are caught in this boom bust. Quality is a second thought after price that the manufacturers have put them in. And as a result, a lot of the components that are in a lot of coaches don't stand up to the trials and tribulations of driving down the road. You mentioned motors, windshield motors. So we have a product, it was actually quite a few years old, and the control boards that run it had burned up. So we built control boards to run inside. I mean, we got a guy that has the wafer and does the diodes, and it's way over my head, but you pull out the one that's bad and you put in the one that's good, and it works. That doesn't work for everything. There's replacements for aqua-hots and all the different components. I wish, and so our prices allow, that I wish I could go and say, listen, I want this is fine for these other brands, but I'm willing to pay more for something better. I do that with the air conditioners all the time. The air conditioners, and it is what it is, the air conditioners that sit on my coach are the same air conditioners that will sit on a $150,000 Class B. They don't make them. There's not a trade-up, because they're all going after the volume of that, 500,000 units a year. So we do our best to make as much as we can in-house. That's how we fight that where we can. And what was your second question?
So many little boxes.
So many, yeah.
that place that so you can't park a big one.
Yeah, so the short answer is that's a problem. That's a problem. A lot of these motorhome parks, I see it changing because of the pullback from 23. Again, there are 30% less people buying RVs now than they did even just 3 years ago at a high level. But I know 3 years ago, people would buy a Newell and they would say where we go and we'd give them the parks and they were rented out for 24 months or something like that, right? So I have seen just in the past, when you look at the RV business journals, I have seen a growing momentum of the big manufacturers, the Thors, the Forest Rivers, these kind of public companies that produce 80% of all motorhomes in the world, or in America, that they are starting to realize, and frankly, they're starting to listen to their customers, that we've got to quit flooding the market with inventory because it devalues what I'm already in. And so I think what really needs to happen, both for the first problem, which is the dinner problem, and the second problem, which is how do I use these things if there's too many of them out there, is there needs to be just fewer produced and add more value to the ones that are produced. More quality to the ones that are produced. Because there was a manufacturer just a week ago, manufacturer's board of RV business, and I think it was the big three. It was Winnebago, Thor, and Forest River, and they all said, we need to focus on that. So hopefully better times are coming. Yes, sir.
You said you produced 39 to 45?
28 a year.
No, on the length. Do you ever have someone that wants the that you have, but in a shorter coach?
The 39 feet is the shortest we can go without some significant, I'm not going to say we couldn't do it without some significant re-engineering because we have the 3 axles. To go beyond, lower than that, we need to change something else out. I would say we produced 1 coach under 45 feet in the last 5 years. And maybe 2 coaches that don't have 4 slides. Right or wrong, when people come to Newell, they want I get more requests for, can you add 6 inches here, than I do for shorthand. Which I always thought was interesting because a lot of the national parks, you can't pull a 45-foot motorhome in a lot of these national parks. They're built for kind of 35-foot, So, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
First of all, what is the weirdest thing anybody has ever asked you to do on your coach?
Yeah.
The second one is, they say if you have to ask this question, you do not need a Newell coach, but what is the gas mileage?
Good question. Frankly, that's the other thing that I've been watching, and I think, man, sales are going to start grinding up. But, fortunately, our customer base, it's kind of a rounding error for some of our customer base. But they get 5.5, 6 miles a gallon.
How many gallons do they go through?
They're right at 200 gallons.
These days, 6 gallons. That's the weirdest thing.
Weirdest thing. So I've got 2 of them that I always say. So we have a professional golfer who has a Newell, and he's kind of famous for having back problems. And so he had us build one that we actually had to have 2 50-amp plugs in because it had a dry sauna, a cold plunge pool, cold plunge tub, and a steam shower. And enough room for his masseuse to come in and put a table. So that was a strange one. And then the other is these coaches that we sent over to Abu Dhabi. Which is a cool story. They came down to Tulsa Airport, picked it up in the Antonov, that big plane. He drove it on and flew off. But it was for the royal family, or a member of the royal family, and they used it for falconry. And so their plan was they take this 45-foot, 60,000-pound vehicle out into the desert, and they set up tents and a big to-do, and the bays they had it set for falconry cages. So,
Any bulletproof glass involved?
no, they didn't ask for it. They didn't ask for it. Yes, sir.
Last time I was at a NASCAR race, I noticed a number of your vehicles parked on the inside. Do you have a pretty big market in NASCAR and rock and roll stars?
Yeah, great question. We have a lot of deep history with NASCAR and Formula One and Indy. So we got deep roots in the racing industry. If you watch NASCAR on Sunday, if you look at the leaderboard, we probably have 60% of those on there that are in Newell's. Rock stars, surprisingly, no. That's what I thought when I first got here is, $2 million for a motor, it's got to be like rock stars. And they lease those. So the majority of those are leased. There's a big leasing operation where they'll lease 10 of them for the tour. And some of them are set up with bunks, and that's where band is. But not a whole lot of people buy them in that industry.
You said that 50% are about repeat customers. About how long do they keep their first one until they start designing their second one?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's changed. So when I first got there, we probably had, half of that 50%. That was every 2 years. We offer a 2-year bumper-to-bumper warranty, and a lot of people like to stay on the warranty. As the prices have increased, the prices have gone up a lot. Now we see, those 50% are probably 4-year, 5-year, is what we see. Yeah.
We've appreciated your alliance in Grove and Lagata. Do you still have a program in there to send them to?
We do. So our customers during delivery week, they'll come and they'll do a 2 or 3 day orientation at the factory. And then we always kind of encourage them, go camp out by yourself, try to break it, call our 1-800 number when it's 10 o'clock and you forgot how to turn off the hot water, and they go to Regatta. And it's been great for us. They take really good care of our customers. So we're really happy with kind of the way we've been able to work with them.
Real quick, tell us how you came to Oklahoma. Tell us about Sam.
So I came to Oklahoma. I was working for Alphalon, looking at high-end footwear stuff. And that's kind of my background is in product development and marketing. And had my firstborn, Jackson, who was a Rotary Student of the Month. Thank you very much. And both Amber and I are from the Fort Worth area, and we were looking to get back home. I had a co-worker at Alphalon who actually went to work at Blitz USA. So Eric and Cy had me down, interviewed. I thought I was going to be there for a couple of years. I thought it was kind of a stopover on our way back to Fort Worth. And we came here and had my daughter and just kind of fell in love with the lake. I had never lived on a lake before. I've raised 2 little lake rats, and we love it here. And of course, the things progressed at Blitz, and then after Blitz sold, I had the opportunity to start with another one of LK's companies at Newell, and I've been there ever since. So, yeah.
Very good.
Thank you guys again. I appreciate the opportunity to come speak, and I appreciate what you guys do in the community. I really think a lot of this organization. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Serena had to step out, so she asked if I would close it up. I'm a little rusty, so we'll see if we can get through it. Don't forget, next week we are setting up for Lobster Fest, so make sure you help out with that. And thank you, Monty, for the food today. And then don't forget, pick up all the tables and all the chairs today. So with that, let's, yes.
Are we meeting at the expo next week?
I was hoping no one would ask. Yes, meeting at the Expo Center next week. So, okay, with that, let's stand with the 4-way test of the things that we think, say, or do. This has been true. Is there all concern?
Great job.
stayed for another year reading. I was just saying, I wasn't sure, I was like, doesn't look
I'm the only person who likes this stuff. Especially setting up and stuff. I think if you push them it says keep moving unless you're the best or this of course, some people will look here because they have everybody. I got 3.